at the end of the day, all roads lead to the Zio state.
For sure, 1,000%.
That's what I know.
Did you see, I don't know the veracity of this. This could be completely harmful disinformation, but I did see someone covering a supposed statement made by Tyler Robinson as he's being interrogated that they are going to come. He basically says they are going to come after my family and everything if I say what happened. I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah. Just like they brought the family. Again, all of it is connected to one entity. And this is the entity that is now saying, while everyone's paying attention to Charlie and everyone is paying attention to Jimmy fucking Kimmel of all people, this story,
Zio.
Yeah. Jimmy Kimmel to Zio.
Yeah.
This is the story that really matters. The United Nations has officially recognized a Palestinian state. They hung the Palestinian flag in London today. And the person who actually controls this country had this to say.
מסר ברור לאותם מנהיגים שמכירים במדינה פלסטינית לאחר הטבח הנורא ב7 באוקטובר. אתם מעניקים פרס עצום לטרור. ויש לי מסר נוסף עבורכם. זה לא יהיה. לא תקום מדינה פלסטינית ממערב לירדן. במשך שנים אני מנעתי את הקמתה של מדינת טרור זו מול לחצים אדירים, גם מבית וגם מן החוץ. עשינו זאת בנחישות ועשינו זאת בתבונה מדינית.
What wisdom?
Also, I always notice, like, okay, what language is he speaking? So who is this? Who is the audience? Who is this intended for?
It's intended for his people.
To the UN, you know, but he's speaking Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it seems like he's threatening the rest of the world, right? Like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. He's posturing for his own people.
He's losing it, man. He's
posturing for people in Israel. That's who he's posturing for.
Yeah,
he's basically telling them, I won't stand for it. I have your back. Like,
right.
If he were really speaking to us, he'd be speaking in English.
Oh, for sure.
I'm also at the point where I'm thinking the reason why he's been able to get away with this for so long is because he's made it very clear. I'll drop a nuke if I have to. I have no problem with doing that.
Yeah, the Samson option. Dude, they are we were talking about this a couple minutes ago when you were like, what's their plan? Like, what do they think they're going to be able to do? Like, I thought this too. Like, do they think they're just going to be able to K-word everyone? They're just going to go I think that's what their plan is. Like, they want to incite the world against them, and it's working, and they want to eventually, you know, go nuclear with the whole thing. I mean, it's pretty scary, but like, they are just off the reservation, and I don't know. We're headed for dark and strange times, as dark and strange as it already is.
Well, we've been saying that he's running out of real estate.
Mm-hmm.
They all, again, this all gets back to the conversation you had with Bonfiglio on Tim Pool's show. It's like
Bonfiglio. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you want to tell him, you want to tell that fucking gorilla. It's like, do you not understand that everybody sees through you? Everybody knows why you're saying this. Everyone knows you're being paid to say it. You are so desperate to be in the club that you're willing to sacrifice your own fucking countrymen in order to do it. Yeah, there's a lot of desperate people out there. But you know what? There's always ways to make money. Always. I drove Uber and Lyft when I didn't have a pot to piss in. I know exactly what needs to be done to survive. Do you need to sell out?
Yeah, right.
He's not a good commentator. You know, that's the other thing. You get some of these people that pontificate, and they're not even good at it. They're really shitty. Like, he comes off like a total degawop, like the guys that I grew up with in New Jersey that basically have to wear the Italian chain. They got to wear the big cross, and they're going to talk like an Italian tough guy, and that's who he comes off like. And all I'm thinking is, yeah, maybe you'll make a few bucks. Maybe you might get somewhere for a minute with this. But you sucking off the Israel lobby 24/7? Dude, what's going to happen when eventually they don't have anywhere to go? You are going to be cast out like a fucking leper. As
we know where they're going to go.
Well, yes, we do.
Argentina.
Yeah, they're going to go to Argentina. Yeah. Well, let's get through this segment, and maybe we'll
All
discuss MIlei before we conclude for the evening. Let's see what else
Nettie hoo-hoo.
this person who should be hung in a public square has to say.
לא כל שכן. הכפלנו את ההתיישבות היהודית ביהודה ושומרון, ונמשיך בדרך זו. המענה לניסיון האחרון לכפות עלינו מדינת טרור בלב ארצנו, המענה הזה יינתן לאחר שובי מארצות הברית. תמתינו.
Always has to mention us.
Yeah. What? That's so weird. Like, just wait. It sounds so ominous. And isn't he supposed to be visiting? Is he alluding to the fact that he's supposed to be visiting? I mean, it must be, it's the last week in September. So I think.
Yeah, he's coming here. He's coming to meet. And so who else is coming?
The fourth time since Trump became president. I mean, it's got to be a record.
But he's not coming alone.
Who's
he's coming with President MIlei from Argentina.
Isn't that his nephew or something too?
I don't know if they're related.
Oh, okay. I've heard that.
Chat wants to point out if Javier MIlei is related to Netanyahu Milikowski, that would certainly be good information. But while he's preaching that bullshit, just remember, there are doctors in Gaza that are still reporting on the ground at risk of death every day that this is what's going on.
Here's Dr. Nada Aburob and Dr. Saya Aziz. We're two doctors from Australia. We're here in Gaza at the moment. We arrived in the middle in Al-Aqsa Hospital first, where the situation was disastrous, where we're having kind of kids coming after a strike. With most of like, let's say 70 to 80% of our patients are kids and pregnant women. And the situation was terrible, and there was no water, no food, and people living in the hospital everywhere. It was very common for a person to be the only survival of their family. Everyone has lost most of their family. It was very hard for us to get in, and there was a lot of restrictions. We were not allowed to bring any baby formula, any money, and the cards don't work. We are hardly surviving and hardly able to help anyone. There's no equipment. They're down to the very basics, running out of working scissors. There's no soap in the theatre room to scrub in, no gloves, nothing at all. We're treating patients on the floor, mass casualty after mass casualty. They're using all the weapons. However, when we came north to Al-Shifa Hospital, it's a nightmare.
See, the rage. See, Stephen Miller can't possibly understand this rage.
That's a really convincing piece of production that we just watched from a Hollywood soundstage.
Gaza Wood. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice green screen.
Oh my God.
No, I've seen this clip, and she talks about, delivering a beheaded woman's child, and thankfully, like, the child survived.
For now.
Yeah, for now, exactly. And it angers me to a point where I feel like I am so mad at Israel, of course, and I can't stand, but I also think about just not only our complicity in the West, but like how they can't do this without an economy, they can't do this without a supply chain. I like talking about the supply chain of genocide. When you think about just how destructive a genocide is on an industrial scale, and yes, it's immensely destructive, but consider how exponentially more creative power and organizational power and energy goes into this economy of a genocide. And that, I just think, like, at any point in this supply chain, we could have had workers defecting or organizations, not being complicit, not aiding our government, not aiding the Israeli state, and how that would have stopped this. But no, it carries on. People are making a fucking killing, literally. And so that's why it continues.
We made a viral clip recently about how they're it's already started, but the Israelis are mass migrating to Cyprus, but it's not the only place that they're going. They're also going to Argentina. And as we can now see, Argentine President MIlei to meet with Trump and Netanyahu in New York when they are planning to meet. Look, just look.
Oh
at
yeah,
that.
he looks normal.
He looks
Yeah,
like a vampire.
It's like a really scary
Twilight.
Johnny Cash Liberace situation,
That's a great comparison.
but it's friggin' horrifying.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Wait, so this seems like we're living in a neoliberal hell.
Yes.
Basically,
Yes.
is what this is. What are they going to meet about? Like, what's going on? And so I'm going back to in my mind to Netanyahu's statement where like, just wait when I come back from the United States. Just wait. Like what?
I think it's pretty obvious what's happening here.
Mhm.
I think that we have seen there's already been significant monetary exchange between the two. Well, I don't consider the real Palestine. Israel is not a real nation. It's fake. But let's just say for the sake of argument that we are discussing two nations. The monetary exchange has been pretty significant. And MIlei is a nutcase to begin with. His complete austerity form of politics is setting the stage for an infusion of endless amounts of money, whether from our country or by proxy through Israel to their country. And everyone, and I mean everyone, is going to be relocating to Buenos Aires. That's essentially what's going to happen. They're all going to end up there. And he couldn't be more ready, willing, and able to do so.
Oh,
the
yeah.
idea that MIlei is, of all the world leaders that could be meeting in New York with the president of the United States and Netanyahu, MIlei is going to be there. It couldn't be more obvious what this is about. Clearly, they know the walls are closing in, and they know they have to have an exit ramp. And so that exit ramp, again, as if there couldn't have been a greater parallel between the Zionists and the Nazis, it's going to be Argentina. That's where they're going to go.
Makes sense to me. That's very good analysis, Peter. And
well, thank you, sir.
I think also I like to acknowledge that there's this other side of the story that is happening, that's playing out, that Israel doesn't want you to know about, which is the fact that so many are fleeing Israel, they're fleeing the promised land. The economy is suffering. We watched a video on stream where, Israelis are being, Israeli store owners are being interviewed, and they're like, look, the economy is dead. There's nobody comes to Israel anymore. And, we're not selling.
Unless you're in Congress, then you go to Israel.
Congress, unless you're Marco Rubio and you want to finger bang the wall. But yeah, I think that and I think that fits in with my overall prediction that right now we're seeing a sea change surrounding the world perception to Israel, and we're seeing Israel's cultural death playing out, and I think that is preceding the economic death, and I think the economic death will be forthcoming, and we're already seeing that trickle in. You see, big companies pulling out of investment deals like Intel. And the bottom line, companies aren't going to invest in a place where it's getting bombed and you have to flee to bomb shelters, and there's all this war and uncertainty. Remember, capitalists are very averse to risk. They want certain, returns on investment. So if Israel can't do that, it's sayonara. And we saw Netanyahu as well this past week. I think he was pleading to his donor class that, like, we need to have our own manufacturing in Israel, because we're starting to see like countries like Spain, rescind these deals for weapons purchases. And I think I've heard, in the headlines, other countries like Turkey as well. I mean, I'm not sure how serious that is, but I think the bottom line is that, the cultural boycott will persist, and it'll be an economic boycott of Israel. And I just don't think that this is sustainable. I think I agree with the likes of John Mearsheimer when he says that Israel's doing irrevocable damage to themselves. They're hanging themselves with their own rope, so to speak. Metaphorically speaking, of course, in accordance with the YouTube community guidelines. Right,
metaphor. But no, I think and I feel bad for Cyprus. You know what I mean? Like, that's a nightmare, because let me tell you, when you talk about Israelis fleeing, that's the bane of my existence here in South Florida. That's one of the reasons I need to leave South Florida.
Yeah, they're coming to South Florida.
Oh, we're infested. we've always been infested, and now our infestation has gotten an infestation. So it's a real problem. It's a real. I can't be around it. I just can't. I have like a 10-foot. Look, I got a 4-foot perimeter from most people just in general, but Zaya's it's at least a 10-foot perimeter. Like
restraining order.
Argentina
Cyprus is go ahead. Peter.
No, please finish your thought.
Well, I was just saying, you mentioned Cyprus. It's already like an Israeli hub, from what I understand.
I know,
like
because it has military bases there. That's why.
Yeah. That's all I was gonna say. Yeah.
No, it's not good. I feel bad for them, and the people in Cyprus, like they're not having fun with it at all. Like they don't, and it doesn't get better. I hate to tell you guys in Cyprus, it will not get better. They will hunker down and dig in, kind of like leeches, or I don't know, parasites. Like what do we call them parasites. Yeah. And then what we used to have were chiggers. We had chiggers at camp, and you had to use to cover your skin with nail polish because that was the only way to suffocate them out. Yeah.
Argentina,
take that metaphor however you wish, Jack.
Exactly.
There are things that Jen can say that some of us can't say.
I'm learning.
Argentine President Javier MIlei will meet with his U.S. counterpart, Donald Trump, on Tuesday. Oh, so this is tomorrow. As part of his trip to New York, the South American country's presidential press office reported on Saturday. MIlei, who maintains an international policy aligned with the U.S. and Israel, will also meet with Shithead on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly, which will be held next week in New York. The Argentine president reaffirmed this week that his country will open its embassy in Jerusalem. So, another little caveat that a lot of you may not know. Like the United States, Argentina is now the second nation, and probably the only other one, that is moving their Tel Aviv embassy to Jerusalem. That's a nice little development that not many people probably will.
Right. And if for those of you that don't know, that, Jerusalem is occupied territory. That's supposed to be the Palestinian capital. So when Trump moved the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem, as I believe he did in his first term, that was like a big fuck you to Palestine.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
So MIlei is following suit.
Shocker.
Yeah.
MIlei has also repeatedly declared his support for Trump, with whom he has already met since taking office in 2023. Argentina, which maintains an agreement with the IMF, is seeking support for its economic policy at a time when financial markets have suffered severe tensions following the ruling party's defeat in legislative elections in the province of Buenos Aires. You mean to tell me that austerity politics doesn't work? That's news to me.
Shocking.
Colin, if you would, please.
Wait, what? Colin?
Our producer.
Oh, Colin. Okay. Oh, is Colin operating the
Correct.
Oh, what?
He's
Shout out to Colin.
Do you know Colin?
No, way to go, Colin. I'm pleased to meet you.
On Monday, MIlei, Foreign Minister Gerardo Wertheim, and Economic Minister Luis Caputo, among others, will meet the IMF Director Kristalina Georgieva. Oh, nice name, shitty person though.
Neoliberal meeting, and in the neoliberal capital of the neoliberal hellscape that we all live in.